Hello, welcome to my cake kitchen. I'm Gladys, and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate cake decorating easily. These lives normally start at 1 p.m. I'm early today only because we have quite the tasks to get through, so I thought I'll register myself a little early so we can get the jobs done. What are we doing today? Well, in front of me we have some ingredients organized for French buttercream. It's a buttercream I have done before. And then we also have a 6-inch vanilla cake to bake. There's quite a few tasks to get through, so let's see where we are at. For now though, I am starting with, what am I starting with? Look, I have a customer cake and a cake for my niece and a few other things in between. So I thought I'll bring you along. So this is just me and my inner contemplation. I think, what are we going to do? We should start with the vanilla cake and then it goes in, and then we can do the eggs and then come back for a different, So what are we doing? We're making a 6-inch vanilla cake. Okay, I am just going to move stuff around slightly, and then butter is melting because it's warm. Okay, the UK is warm. Right, so these two need to go back there, and then we're getting the ingredients for the vanilla cake. I've quite a lot to do, isn't it? Right, so these are the ingredients for the vanilla cake. If there's a chat happening, I'm clearly missing it, so bear with me. Look, there's a lot to do, okay, so bear with me. Let's put this in the pouch. You are literally in my home kitchen with me, so that's the confusion I have today. Let's see. Right. And it's warm in the UK, so I have myself a flask of cold water. I needed to feel hydrated. That aside, here's what we have. We have baking spread. I am using the little brand of baking spread. We have caster sugar here. There's 425 grams of sugar. There's 325 grams of baking spread. We have 280 grams of eggs, 60 mils of buttermilk, and then 445 grams of self-raising flour. The self-raising flour has a pinch of salt. There's no added rising agent in there because the self-raising flour is pre-done already, and the rising agents are added at the point of production, so I don't need to add anything else. Now, the process I'll be using to derive this cake is the creaming method. Yesterday in the chat, somebody was asking me a question about the reverse creaming. There will be a time for me to talk about that, because by the time I came to answering that question, that particular person, our Aunt Jackie, had left the chat. So I couldn't answer that in detail and I left it. So if you're new to baking, welcome here. We have a lot of fun here. We chit chat, we laugh, and some days we go off on a tangent and talk about life and random things. But generally we are baking focused. So you will learn tips about baking. We'll take you through the entire baking process so that you're empowered to undertake your own baking at home. So I hope you find this video a little more useful than you would think, and more than anything, I hope you join the community over here. Do like the video if it's giving you some value. Subscribe. Don't just be a passive subscriber because I asked you today. If you have no intention of coming back to the channel or coming back to say hello to us or engage with us or join in the community, please don't subscribe. It doesn't help. I need the numbers, but I don't need passive numbers where you are not engaged, because I really need you to be a part of the community, because the community doesn't just serve me, it serves all of us. With that in mind, let's just jump straight into baking. I think my usual crew is not here because they're probably waiting for me to show up at 1 p.m. and I'm here earlier. If I'm not like shifting and moving my schedule around, I'm probably inviting you into some chaos that is developing in my life. So welcome here. We are real people and we have real problems. So there you are. That said, if you're just joining us in the chat, thank you for being here. I am glad. Is it Ixie? There's Effia to say. Ixie, what am I making? I'm making a vanilla cake. Okay, we're making a vanilla sponge cake. We tried the same sponge cake yesterday, but in a 7-inch cake. And here's what we have. We had a really lovely vanilla sponge. Look at that sponge. It's tender. It is, oh, it was so nice. Ask me what happened to the top. I picked on it. Okay, I kept picking on it. And we are going to be stacking it all together so that we can make a princess cake for my niece, who turns 4. Is it 4 or 5? Jesus, I don't know, people. But I'm an auntie, don't worry. So that's the cake with the same recipe we are using as yesterday, but hoping to make it into a 6-inch cake. Good to be here. Right? So every time you join the stream, I'm like, your data is finished, isn't it? Oh dear. Right, there you go. The regular crew will probably be mad at me, but you know what? We'll be all right. We love each other. They will join in later. So what essentially we're doing is we're making the vanilla cake, the 6-inch that will go to bake, and then we'll start on our French buttercream. And then when we start on the French buttercream, we'll come back on the next live to actually finish the French buttercream. That is the goal, at least I hope. So let's just get on with it. Because between the all of that, there's also American buttercream that I want to make. So, Lord. Navdeep, what answer do you want? You have barely asked me a question. What do you need from me? Hello there, Navdeep. How are you? And there is Monique. There is Sweet Shimmer. Sweet Shimmer. Yeah, Monique. Monique, yes. You know what? I love French buttercream because it's easier to do anyway, but it's not the most stable buttercream, so don't be so excited yet. My most recommended buttercream to make will be Swiss meringue buttercream, because it's not super beginner friendly, but I have beginner friendly ways for you to get it done. And I don't oversell the idea that it is very technical and difficult to achieve. It's not like American buttercream. However, if you kind of break through the mindset aspect that it is hard and you master the techniques to get it right, there's a great buttercream. So my preferred will be Swiss meringue, but my go-to easily for filling cakes is French buttercream, because it's creamy. It's a little like, it brings, in terms of taste, I like it better. It is creamy, it's buttery, like there is weight to it, the mouthfeel is good. I like it, but it is not very stable, so I don't use it for covering cakes at all. It actually goes into filling cakes, and because I'm making a doll cake, I want the American buttercream to go onto the piping of the cake on the outside. It's a doll cake with buttercream ruffles. So I'm making American buttercream to do that job on the outside, because that is more firm and stable, and it's for kids. And then the French buttercream goes on the inside. So that is my intention for the choices I am making. Can I? Ixie is asking, can I make cake without eggs? Sure, there is vegan egg. There's vegan egg-free cake. So yes, you can. Not the cake I am making though. The cake I am making requires eggs. And I haven't developed an exact alternative where you can do it without eggs. But You know, on the internet, you will find so many resources and recipes that have been tried and tested with or without eggs for you to use. So I think you should check those out. But more than anything, if you were choosing a cake that doesn't have eggs, sometimes you want to choose a cake that is closer to its original form with eggs. And you could never go wrong with vegan chocolate cake. Vegan chocolate cake, even without eggs, tastes exactly like a cake with eggs, because for some reason it just works. So the vanilla ones, when I've tried it, it's not the same, because eggs do play a big role in baking. Eggs contribute to rise, texture, bind, they add body, they assist emulsification, which is the egg yolks has what you call lecithin, or I keep getting there. It's lecithin. One of those. I keep confusing the names, but I'll leave the proper name in the description box for you to see. Navdeep, can I make you a moderator? No, we don't make anybody just a moderator. Our moderators are actually active friends of the channel. So whilst anybody can be nominated to be a moderator, you have to be present, you have to be consistent, you have to have a knack for interacting with the group in the chat, so that you can stay like as a group member, if you like, or friend of the channel. So imagine me making you a moderator and you don't show up tomorrow. What are we going to do? We need people who we can rely on. So if you want to be a moderator, you're welcome. You can stick around and probably undertake the moderator role, like, what's the word I'm looking for? And then when you earn your stripes, we'll give you the blue badge. That's how it works over here. So I'm sorry, you can't have a moderator's title here. But go ahead, moderate the channel, keep people engaged and chatting, and who knows, you might just. Okay? So great to have you though. Jamriana, yeah, have a blessed day. Thank you for being here, and thank you for stopping by, right? And whilst we're at it, there is 17 of you in the chat, including myself. Could you consider liking the video, okay? That is if you're into baking and you already enjoy the information that has been given. I won't pretend the numbers don't count. The numbers do count. And when you do like the video, it sends a signal to YouTube as a form of interaction to say you had a great experience or you've been here, so that it can put the video in front of other people who might find it equally useful. Now that's enough talking for now. Let's get straight to the bake of the cake. There is the sugar that goes in first, and then I am going to add I see Navdeep disappeared. Navdeep, all right, thank you. Can you see? How are you going to be mad because you weren't made a moderator and you kind of disappear off the channel? How does that happen? Do you go around going, make me a moderator? No. We have two moderators over here, which is Tapeta and Lollipop. And if you met them in the chat, you will know they really love what they do. So I am so sorry that you are so annoyed by it and you've left. So go on, goodbye, see you later. Jamie, is it Ixie Ash? I answered your question about baking without eggs, okay? So yeah, there are tried and tested recipes you can find that will help you. So try and check those out. Melissa, great to have you. Thank you for stopping by with us today. Where are you joining us from? So this is going to be creaming 4 to 6 minutes. I think I'm going for somewhere around 4 to 5 minutes because it's hot and the baking spread has already melted. So I am not going to kind of make it any worse for myself. So let's cream. Southern California, great to have you. How is your weather over there? I mean, it's about, is it 24 degrees over here and I'm burning already? But great to have you though. I have myself some water. Hagos, the question you are asking me, I can't understand. What do you work this? Is that an error? Please write the question again and I will consider answering it properly. I can't answer a question I don't understand. I know what you mean. It's dry and a bit muggy. I think it kind of makes sense. I hope there is all is well wherever you are, because when you check the news, it just feels like your part of the world is just on fire. Okay? And if I am a little bit quiet, it's because the mixer is a little bit noisy and I don't want to shout over you. But let's get the baking done and I will talk to you. But yes, I understand what you're saying. So thanks for stopping by, my people. Just so you know, this is just one part of what we are doing today. We are baking this cake. It goes in and then we come back and then we do American French buttercream, after which we have American buttercream to do. All right? Now let's go and get the sides all done. Yeah, weather does affect the making of batter a lot because it's so hot. The butter is there. Oh, the baking spread has melted, but it shouldn't affect the quality of the bake in any way. So let's get on with it. Whilst on that subject, I am going to go ahead and add some egg yolks. Monica, bear with me, right? For those of you in the chat, if you've just joined the chat, welcome. Thank you for being here. First of all, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're joining us from. Tell us your interest in baking, or whether you just saw somebody with a mixer on your screen. You're like, let me stop by and catch up. It's great. We catch up here. But when the mixer is on, it can be very loud and noisy. And I don't want to feel like I'm shouting at you. So if I kind of feel a little bit distracted, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because I need this to be done so that I can come back and talk to you. But Monica, if you want some full clips of what we do over here, if you look on the live formats, we have full-on clips from start to finish of different sorts of things, and I'm sure you will find something completely beginner friendly. But let me just finish what I'm doing and I'll talk to you properly for some information about where you are on your baking journey, so I can make specific recommendations to help support your goals. Okay, great to have you though. And there is channel cupcake you just got here. We are making a vanilla cake. We were here making the same vanilla cake yesterday. Okay, I will show you what that looks like. And today we are continuing with the bake. The bake we are undertaking here, whilst it's a generalized vanilla cake, I'm sure you can find different variations of the same recipe. This recipe I adapted for myself. It was an original recipe I picked up and had to kind of reformulate it for myself. And it is fairly easy to make. More so because it uses the creamy method. Scrap the fact that I have a stand mixer here. It is just for convenience. You can use a hand mixer, which I do use here, over here. I mean, I have a hand mixer here. So if you're a beginner, the recipe and quantity here can still be derived using a hand mixer. That aside, the recipe itself is super adaptable in that you can either use baking spread, you can use margarine, you can use butter altogether. You can even swap the butter for half of oil, all of that will still guarantee great results without extreme changes from you. It is very, very simple. You can change the sugar quantity if you want. I'm using caster sugar here because I'm going for a plain old vanilla cake. But if you want a bit of texture and flavor and some sort of feel to the crumb, you can swap that for any amount of other sugar. We're talking brown, light brown to muscovado, and all the other sugar in between. One thing though, you can't add soluble sugar. No, that is not tested yet. So I say that to say it is a fairly beginner friendly, adaptable recipe. But whilst the recipe itself is great, the technique also is super adaptable in that you did just see me add egg yolks in here. The egg yolks enhances emulsification, more so because the sun is up, my baking spread has melted in the creaming process. Now, why do we cream our butter and sugar together? If you're new to baking, simply the butter and sugar is what cream together is what you call mechanical aeration. Mechanical aeration is just a technical word to say you're using a mechanism to kind of add air pockets or air bubbles to the sugar and butter. And essentially what happens is that when you put the sugar, which is crystal sugar, into the butter, the sugar digs air into the butter or margarine, which is then trapped. Now those trapped air pockets eventually will aid the rise of the cake when it goes with other ingredients in the bake to help enhance your crumb. The finer your creaming, the more consistent and finer your air pockets are, the better your crumb outcome will be. And that's the essence of it. But this is not the only way you can derive a cake. You can derive a cake by what you call the reverse creaming method, which is a whole different process. And you can also use the one bowl method where creaming is not even introduced at all, and then you can mix your ingredients. All of these things I'm telling you, I have tried a lot of them. The channel is, at this moment in time, has a library of about nearly 900 videos, most of which are between live formats, some shorts and long form. So if you're a complete beginner and you love baking and you want to learn more about baking, there's enough videos on the channel. I will encourage you to check on the live formats because there's a ton of tutorials on there, and they are full on tutorials. The lives are not edited, so what you're seeing here is exactly what you'll be getting, and they're not edited. So whilst they are very long and sometimes boring, consider them as learning resources where you can sit down with a pen and a paper, take notes, and go and try the processes that are introduced on there. But if you want to catch up a bit of fun on the side with some of the information that is provided along the process, I also have long form formats, and the most recent video I uploaded on Sunday night was Meghan Markle's lemon and honey cake, amazing cake. You can go catch up with it after this live. It's great cake, but even the technique and results are very minimalistic and very simple and beginner friendly. So I encourage you to check that. And if you don't care for any of that, but you like a bit of wit and fun about cake decorating processes, there are also daily shorts for you. Go catch up. So at this point in time, there is no reason for you to be lagging behind your baking goals and objectives. So you're welcome for joining me today. Let's see what we're saying here. You just came across, you can't stay. Oh, Ali, that's fine if you can't stay. The lives are tricky for sometimes, but yes, great to have you for the short time we have you here. Ifya says, please, what's the difference between a baking spread, butter, or margarine? Okay, I will answer that question in a moment. Let me just finish this and I'll talk to you, okay? Okay, I am turning my mixer to a fold function, and the fold function is a slow function that will help me incorporate the flour and buttermilk into this. I turn it to a slow function simply because you do not want to overmix the flour into the butter, because that will develop gluten and make your cake a little tough. Okay, hence, yeah, so this is a slow function over here. I have just added the buttermilk, a little bit of that for texture enhancement, if you like, crumb quality. And then I am just going to throw in a spoonful of white vinegar. That's all. There's a question in the chat, the difference between baking spread, margarine and butter. I'll answer that in a moment. Let's just, because the sun is so hot, for those of you who don't like bakers using their hands, look away now, because as you can see, my hands are wet. I literally just washed my hands, and I need to kind of like get this in the mixing bowl, because there's no reason for me to waste this butter. Okay, people, I'm not about to waste over here. So that aside, I'm gonna wash my hands again. Okay, and then I am moving this out of the way just shortly, because this mixer will be back soon. For at this moment in time, our oven is preheating and has been since we've been live. So it's preheating at 160 degrees C, right? So Efia was asking, what is the difference between baking spread, margarine or butter? Butter is a dairy product that is churned from milk or cream. Okay, that is butter. So consider butter, of all the fats and everything, it's a natural product, like it's a natural dairy product that is churned from milk, the milk or cream. Okay, it is considered a healthy option in terms of the selection of solid fats, if you like, for good reason. What is margarine? Margarine is more like a butter substitute that is made from vegetable oils. Okay, so it's vegetable oils that are processed to mimic the look, feel and taste of butter, but it's not butter. By comparison, it is considered to be slightly a little less unhealthy, but we're not getting into the health aspect. I'm just giving you generalized information between what the two items are. And then baking spread is, I think it's more popular in the UK, and it's a type of margarine also made from vegetable oil, but specifically formulated for baking. So it is sort of targeted at better results in baking rather than margarine, but it is more specific. But it could also be considered margarine, except margarine is a broader subject name for, say, vegetable oils that are processed to mimic the look, feel of butter. I hope that answers your question, but I'm sure a Google search should give you some more information about all of that. So just on a whim, that is at least the idea of what butter, baking spread and margarine are. Okay, now I am dividing the butter between two 6-inch pans here. I'm not doing this equally. Well, at least I hope it is equal, but if it's not, I'm not mad about it. Oh God, what did I do this for? Okay. I am sure Tapeta and Lollipop will be back here shortly. They they didn't know I'll be here earlier than I thought I would. So there you go. Okay. What I'm going to do is kind of spread this out evenly so I have an even bake. Okay. Let's wipe this. And one last tip, I'm going to put some water in the base of my oven. Okay, now this goes straight into the oven. Baking at 170 degrees C, only because I have put some water at the base of the oven that should help the cakes bake tender and easy. Good morning, Tapeta. I've been talking about you and Lollipop. I'm like, the crew does not know I am here this early. And if they show up and I'm already here, they'll be like, girl, what are you doing? Look, girl, I have a lot to do today, so I thought I'll show up early. So I've been here since 12:30. But I know perhaps you may have been sleeping. How are you, lovely? Great to have you and our new friends over here. Yes, I was early, lovely. I was, because I have a lot to do. I have cakes to make. I have buttercream to make. The sun is hot. I'm like, I feel a bit demotivated. Let me come and just get into the swing of things a little bit. So we've literally just finished our cake that is baking. The next thing we're going to be doing is French buttercream. We're going to be making, I'm trying to think, should we make the French buttercream? Yes, we're making French buttercream. You just saw my inner contemplation, like, yeah, we're making French buttercream. Your eyes have been open for 5 minutes and the first thing you're thinking about is show up for work over here. I love your commitment, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. How are you today, though? How are you feeling? Are you okay? Right. There you go. Right. I hope you slept well, though. That's what matters, because I don't want you to show up here tired and overworked, because you know what? I can't really afford you. And I know that. So I've got to be a good boss, isn't it? Right. Okay. Let's wipe our flat thing over here. And let's get some water. Okay, in the meantime, let's make sure this butter is chilling, because the weather is weathering. It's very hot. Oh, you're sleeping better since you quit your job. Tapeta, you're such a rebel, aren't you? Tapeta is like, since I left that stressful job, I feel a lot better. Well, honey, enjoy your time, okay? I mean, some days you're like, working is a scam, though. Like, who actually got us working? Or whose idea? Like, who woke up and thought people need a job that they have to go to? and probably sometimes have a very difficult and unlikable boss. Now, right, what we are doing here is French buttercream. And if you have never made French buttercream, worry not, because I have so many videos on this channel demonstrating French buttercream. But a simple gist of French buttercream is that it's a fairly adaptable recipe that you can make from egg yolks alone. You can make from a mix of the yolk and whole eggs, or you can make it from just whole eggs alone. The process and technique for making it is also adaptable. You can make it, originally French buttercream is made by whipping up the yolks and dripping a syrup of sugar solution into it. Of course, I do not fancy that, because eggs, you've got to cook the eggs, right? So there is this part where you can cook the eggs slowly over steam. This is what you call a double boiler. I mean, there is a contraption for it. It's called the bain-marie, but we don't have that. We don't have time for that. So simply, I am cooking the eggs slowly over this water pot here, and the water pot, when it warms up, will form steam. The steam should warm this bowl up, which will in turn slowly warm and begin to cook the eggs to a temperature of about 160 degrees C, which is about 325 degree F for my American audience. And why is that important? That is important to be able to ensure that there is no foodborne bacteria left in the eggs and to make the eggs safe for consumption. It is probably the only reason why I don't prefer the solution going over the raw eggs, because I am not convinced that cooks the eggs enough for me to be able to trust that. With that in mind, I have tried this process time and again, and the recipe and processes have been recorded in previous videos. You can check those out, or you can stay around and watch me get this done. So in this bowl here is some egg yolks and 2 whole eggs measuring about 250 grams. Into that there is 250 grams of eggs, and I'm cooking that over the bain-marie slowly until I reach the safe temperature that this is desired for. For the temperature, I am going to be using my trusty infrared thingy here. You point it in, it reads, and then you see. So that's what we're going to be doing. Whilst you're at it, polite reminder that do consider liking the video, because hopefully I am providing you as much value, and consider joining the community. In the meantime, yesterday we made an announcement of one of our channel friends, which is Lisa. She has been unwell. I posted her information on the community post. Just leave a positive comment under it. I'm sure if she comes to see it, her heart will be warmed up. She has a few difficult health issues at the moment, and yeah, she's just counting on just our prayers and just positive well wishes. So please do remember that. In the meantime, this can be a little bit slow though. A few things to note: when the bowl is over the double boiler, make sure the bowl is not sitting on top of the water. That will cook the water. That will cook the eggs quickly. And make sure that you are stirring consistently, because if you leave it, because it's a slow process, and go off to do something else, you might come back to what you call scrambled eggs. And I'm not making scrambled eggs. Oh, it's been a long time I drank really cold water. I mean, it's water with ice in it. And it kind of cools your belly. I feel so cool on the inside. Okay. Can you see I'm enjoying my water? Okay. Tabitha, I am recovering. It's been exhausting and it's still ongoing. Like, you know, when you see me here with my face down, my scarf on, and I'm looking all bright and cheerful, honey, I can say God is good, honey. Okay, so I am well. I am very well. Thank you for asking. But I wouldn't say, though, my June has walked off a pier. Hopefully it's not. Because yours did eventually walk off the pier, okay? And it culminated into you going, peace, goodbye, see you later. I haven't peace and goodbye yet. Anna, thank you. Yeah, Anna says God is good. Yes, yes. When you see me and I still have my smile and my eyebrows are drawn and my black person's blush is blushing. Well, you know what? Tabitha, there's always something that is learned in the unfortunate events that plagues our lives. So, I mean, what can you do, honey? What can you do? So, you know what? Sometimes our blessings are shrouded in the unfortunate events of our lives, but Christians, let's do better, okay? When someone loses a loved one, don't go tell them it's God's will, because they're not feeling that way in that moment. I know the sentiment is well meant, okay? But please reserve that for good time. Wisdom is knowing when to say what, okay? Christians, let's do better. How did we get here? Okay, so I am only saying what I said in context to Tabitha just quitting a job. I mean, it's a job, she quit, right? There may be a blessing in it in that moment. Tabitha is not starving. You know, she's got clothes on her back. She has love of her family. She has a hubby to go home to. Tabitha, I know it probably wasn't what you planned, but you can at least embrace the moment and say, you know what, I don't know what the blessing is here. And the blessing can be as simple as you getting some rest and kind of reconsidering where your life will be headed thereafter. That's all, okay? But Anna, thank you. Anna, thank you. Oh, you know what, Anna? I'm no Abigail, you know. I am no Abigail. I just try because I'm not young, you. Well, I think sometimes the people who are like or a generation or a couple of decades beyond me are like, you are still young. Let's just say I'm not in my 20s, okay? And if you've passed your 20s, you're in your mid-30s, headed towards the later part of your 30s and welcoming hello 40, and you haven't learned a thing or two about life and wisdom, we need to take you back to your mother's house, okay? So I am definitely no Abigail, but I try. So thank you for the compliment, okay? Melissa, thank you. You have no idea. I remember one of these days, you know what? A wise person said, sometimes we Christians, look at me just going off on a Christian tangent. A wise person once told me, we Christians sometimes, right? We wrap a whole unnecessary tantrum and we call it prayer. Okay, and then we go to God and we're like, God, why haven't you done this for me? Why haven't you done that for me? And we think it's important, but it's a tantrum. Because if you look at it, you're like, really? Are you serious? So someone once asked me, like, I thought I had my lot, like, it was so dire. And my very wise friend and sister looked at me and she said, If you woke up today and you were so sick that you desired oxygen, what would you be thinking about? I'm like, the hospital, of course, and how I could be taken care of. And she's like, will your goals not matter then? I'm like, they will matter, but of course I need my health first. And she looked at me and she didn't say anything else after. And that was when it occurred to me that, oh my goodness, how for granted we take the blessings of our lives. Like when we wake up, being able to walk around, being able to kind of yank our children and send them off to school. Those are a million other blessings that we take for granted and seek the things that are beyond us. So let's just say, Tapeta, there's a blessing in the sleep you are having in your house. Okay? Acknowledge it and validate it, and let's all move on. Right. Monica, you asked me a question earlier. You are a beginner baker. You are settled in Texas now. You aspire to be a pro, and you were asking for clips, right? I mean, what clips are we talking about? If you're looking for baking videos and information, look, they are already on the channel. I mean, with nearly 900 content in all formats here. There's something for everyone. But here's a question for you, Monica. How long have you been baking? And at this moment in time, what can you bake? Yes, Anna, it's steaming now. It just occurred to me, an error. I said the eggs needed to come up to 160 degrees C. That's not correct. The cake is baking at 160. It's 160 degree F, 165 degree F for the eggs to come to a safe temperature. And the equivalent temperature in Celsius is about 71 to 73 degrees C. Okay, I just thought I'll correct that. In previous videos, I've got it correct, but I got myself a little confused. And I know the internet is forever. You people don't be coming for me, okay? So I am looking for it to... It's steaming now, though, and it's getting a little bit foamy. But I need the temperature to get to 71 for me. We are at 70 now. I need the one. I need the one. I need the one. One, come on. Okay, let's give it a minute. In the meantime, I'll turn the heat down. Yep, got it. Right, 71 degrees C. And I am going to be employing my bigger mixer. I'm going to be employing the use of the bigger mixer. The simple reason is that I need the other mixer. You will see what I need it for American buttercream in the meantime. Lollipop is back. Lollipop, darling, how are you? Right, my people. This is the part one has to be extremely careful of. Right, there you go. There you go. I've just moved that out of the way. I'll be shifting that. And then I'm going to get my... I'm getting the big mixer here on screen. Quite frankly, people, you don't need all of these gadgets over here. The only reason you know I have them is because I bake professionally, okay? So these are all like for business and stuff, but you don't need all of this. For buttercream, the meringue based or egg based buttercream, you probably need a mixer of some sort. But do you need a Kenwood XL? No, you can get an affordable one out there on the market. And by the way, I have compiled a video of all of these tools for beginners. In videos where you can check those out, so please do. All of those are available on the channel for you, so please do check those out. And Lollipop, how are you feeling, my lovely? Today we are checking in with each other and appreciating our small blessings, okay? They may feel small because as human beings always have goals for bigger things whilst forsaking the things that are right in front of us. So Tabitha's blessing is, yes, June walked off the pier and she quit her job, but she has life. She gets to sleep in a little more and she's less stressed. That's a blessing. Name your blessing in the chat, okay? Even if it's not a blessing, you feel like, oh, what is making me feel good today? Come on, leave it in the chat so we can see. Maybe you haven't thought about the thing that you have today that you're grateful for. So maybe stop and think about it and leave it in the chat so we can all encourage each other. Whilst we're at it, I'm just going to... Now, can you see how noisy this is? So I'm going to move that to the back over here for it to do its job. And then I'm going to move the other mixer in front so we can start on our American buttercream. Okay, that's what we're going to do because I am not about... Let's move this to the back. It's a bit noisy. I don't like it at all. you tell your Aunt Gladys is having a crisis and having a whole inner dialogue over here with myself. Okay, I'll tell you why. The mixer is a little too noisy for me to talk to you, and I think there is a lot to catch up on in the chat. So I've just decided to put the other mixer away whilst we kind of talk through the French buttercream a little bit. And then we can talk on the subject of butter, which will become important when we transition to the American buttercream. So let's make it work. So what was I doing over there, right? Essentially, what we wanted to do was whip the egg yolks. So you were here, you saw the consistency of eggs that was put in. Now, this is what we have, look. Right? This is what we have. And that is the consistency we need. It is creamy. It doesn't taste eggy at all. It's something completely different. Unfortunately, here's the thing. Just because you require the eggs to be this, you know, so that you can add the butter in it. Unfortunately, you will have to consider the temperature of the eggs at the time you add the butter, because when I touch this bowl, you can feel the warmth of the bowl. And the simple reason is, if you put the eggs in right now, if you put the butter into the mixture right now, the butter will collapse and melt completely. It will become soupy. Most importantly, it doesn't help so much that the weather is also warm, because weather and external influencing factors do affect the consistency of buttercream. So the role that butter plays when it comes to this style of buttercream is that the eggs do tend to kind of hold the mixture together, because eggs have an emulsifier in it called casein. I said, why do I keep talking about eggs? Butter, okay? Butter. Eggs have an emulsifier, lecithin, right? And butter has casein. You need the casein to be activated at the right temperature of the eggs. But what am I doing? I'm confused. Consider the butter as like a house. If you put the entire house in here, the structure will collapse, which means that your buttercream will not be formed. So you still need the butter to still hold some sort of shape, which is why the temperature of the butter is important, but not just the temperature of the butter. The temperature of the egg mixture also is important. Now with the warmth here, the more we mix this, the warmer it will get, because the weather is very hot. So I'm kind of contemplating my choices a little bit. Another thing you can do is you can sit this bowl if you want to cool things quickly. If you want to cool things quickly, you can sit the bowl in a tub of cold water, which will hasten the cooling quickly for you. I can do that, and I can even put some ice in the cold water so it's cool and makes things work quickly for me. But it's so hot, I don't want to lose my ice. So I am literally like stood here having a whole conversation about what to do. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I'm just going to put some cold water in here and leave my bowl to sit in a little bit, just so that it can cool quickly for me, because I really want to get on with this, but we need this egg foam over here. So whilst that is happening and we have some quiet, whilst that is happening and we have some quiet, let's talk about butter a little bit. Now, when I finish talking about the butter, we'll go back to the French buttercream and then we'll be done. In the meantime, before we start talking about butter, let's see what's happening in the chat. Monica still has a question that I have to answer. Monica, bear with me. The weather is actually informing my choices over here. Okay, so darling, just be patient. time I have an opportunity to talk about butter, trust and believe I will. Because butter plays such a key role in the making of baked goods in a way that cannot be underestimated, okay? So over here, I have softly melted butter. And I say softly melted because when you pick it up, you press into it, it's almost collapsing, but it keeps it firm. And you have a little bit of it on left, grease left on my hands. Now, when we come to this one, we have some solid butter here. See, I have to press. And as you can see, between that and the first press, okay, let's see. This here. Don't forget, because it's come out of the fridge. So look at the difference in consistency. Okay. You can tell, okay? One is sort of, this is the sort of hard, not too soft, and this is the soft one. As you can tell, they look almost similar, but you can tell I have more on my palm here than this one. But of course, because it's warm, the more I leave this outside exposed to the temperature outside, this will melt and then we'll end up with this consistency. I demonstrate that simply to show you that sometimes when we hear room temperature, you need to kind of almost like have a visual understanding of what room temperature looks like. Because room temperature means one thing, but it also represented in different ways to different people. For instance, room temperature over here right now is I am melting. Like technically room temperature is about 18 to 22 degrees C, right? But if you don't have a thermometer to measure room temperature, what does that look like for you? So you need the consistency of your butter to be able to hold shape so that you can use it. But holding shape doesn't necessarily mean it has to be still like frozen or cold and solid. Because if it's still cold and solid, it will not expand when you are mixing it into your ingredients, which will then clump up and not give you the best result. It's the same for when you use butter for baking or when you use it for buttercream. By preference, I prefer my butter a little bit on the softer side, which is what we have here. But of course, today the weather is not on my side. So if you were here earlier, I had to put all of these back in the fridge so that they stay cooling whilst I embarked on other tasks. If this was the winter season for me, I would chop the butter, leave them on the side or in the kitchen, and nothing will happen to them. So when you are making your buttercream, ensure that all the conditions are sort of safe for you, because the information you may gather for, say, a winter buttercream process might be completely different from a sunny, hot, baked day. That said, just make sure that your butter is slightly soft. When you press into it, it can keep form, but it's not collapsing altogether in your palm. Collapsing altogether is when it's super greasy or it has oil film sitting on top of it and cannot hold form. That's not what you want. So this is the butter I need. This is the butter I need for my French buttercream. This butter here is for American buttercream. I'll be back to using it, but if I leave it here, it will melt. So I'm going to put that in the fridge quickly. In the short time that I've pressed on the butter, look, my hands are so oily. So, okay. Right, am I missing something in? Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, my bowl has cooled. So this noisy thing is going to start making noise. If I am quiet, bear with me. I'm just waiting to get this done, and then I'll come and I'll talk to you some more, okay? I'm adding some sugar for balance. Drink some water after all that unwanted noise, okay? Okay. Now, let's go scrape the bowl all together. This is what we have. It is a very rich tasting, creamy style buttercream, but I'm quick to tell you, it's not stable. It will melt on you. It's so disloyal. If you want to balance the sugar out, you can add a pinch of salt. I had, for the quantity of butter, that's about 720 grams of butter. I think I'm done here. Okay, that's French buttercream done. I'm just going to move it to the back. And we can catch up a little bit. And what will happen is, if I leave this on the side and yap, it will melt, because that's what this buttercream does. So I'm just going to move it away. Okay, Papa. There you go. French buttercream, all done. all done. I've got everything I need. It goes on here. It tastes like vanilla ice cream, but with a buttery mouthfeel to it. That's what I almost always think of my. It's French buttercream, Nicola. Okay. So here's my plan for the doll cake. The weather is hot, so I'm not going to make a full buttercream cake. Well, it's a buttercream floral cake. It's an Elsa. Look, I have the doll in hand over here. So what my goal is to get the cake done, put it together, let it chill, cover it in a layer of ganache, and then go ahead and do the swirls on it. That's at least how I'm thinking to kind of bypass the weather. Okay. But you know, the weather isn't a baker's friend. So, and then I have another cake. The 6-inch that is in is a customer cake. So, Nicola, are you asking for the recipe? I normally I have done French buttercream time and again on the channel, but for the purposes of this tutorial, if you want to know, there's 250 grams of eggs, 270 grams of sugar, 700 grams of butter, okay, and anything between 60 to 90 grams of icing sugar, depends on what you like, and then a pinch of salt and some vanilla. That's about it, really. But if you want to see the other videos I have done, they're up on the channel. It's French buttercream. I talk you through the entire process again, and you have the information in the description box as well. Okay, so 270 grams of sugar, 700 grams of butter, 250 grams of that butter is salted. But you can actually use all the butter as unsalted and add a pinch of salt, depending on your preference. And anything between 60 to 80 grams of icing sugar. You can actually increase the icing sugar to 120, depending on your own taste preferences. Because this buttercream is it's adaptable in terms of the sweetness. It is actually, it yields as a very sweet and creamy buttercream, but the icing sugar here is not just to enhance sweetness. It is also aimed at balancing the buttery mouthfeel of French buttercream. So yeah, that the salt and icing sugar helps kind of bring texture and balances the mouthfeel for you. So that's where we are. It is not a very sweet, it is not a very stable buttercream though, Nicola. That's something I always have to say. I love French buttercream, but it's not very stable. So I only employ it for filling cakes, not for covering cakes or not for any piping work or anything. It is not stable at all. So anyway, I am back. Okay, the jobs are done. I still have the American buttercream to go. I think I will come back in the next live to do that. Okay, so just so that I can stop and catch up with you a little bit. Okay, so Efia is asking, can I use margarine instead of butter? There I go, honey. Efia Dabi Menyasa. Here's I literally went to Ghana for a minute. Okay, Efia Menyasa. I literally traveled to Ghana. Efia, this is why margarine for buttercream doesn't work. Okay, we know that margarine and butter are completely two different things. Butter is the real thing and the margarine is the fake brother. Okay, the issue here is that margarine is formulated with vegetable oils where the taste and mouthfeel is different. In terms of the structure of the margarine, it also yields different when you mix sugar into it. So whilst I think that is a good idea for me to start to try. And I will only try it for demonstration purposes. But I know as a matter of fact, margarine for buttercream is nothing like butter for buttercream. The name tells, it's called buttercream for a reason, because the base fat is butter. Because butter is creamy, yields a better mouthfeel, is more, I wouldn't say it's more stable, because up to, I think the melting point of butter, if I'm not wrong, it's about, is it 90 degree? People in the chat, find out the melting point of butter. So in terms of stability, I wouldn't say it is super stable. However, in terms of what? Quality, taste, and mouthfeel, which is what buttercream is, because buttercream is added to cakes to enhance the taste and mouthfeel and eating experience. If you swap it for margarine, why? It's just not going to yield the same. Plus, it's not, margarine also on the other side, the more you whip it, you're likely to break the structure of the margarine, because remember, it is oils that has been made into that fat, right? So butter you can whip so that it pales out, which will incorporate air, and then when you add the sugar, it changes color. So you can almost whip butter from the yellow looking butter that it is to an off-white or nearly white looking substance. Can you do the same for margarine? I don't know. What I do know is that in terms of mouthfeel and taste, it's not the same. It's not the same. So it should matter to you what you are serving a customer. And for that, I will not encourage the swap at all. But you know what? That's my opinion, set in the information I have given you. You know what? Yeah, set in the information I have given you. You do whatever you want. But if you try it, I don't think the results will be great. Can you imagine margarine for buttercream in this Ghanaian hot weather though? Enye though, sister. Menyesa. That aside, menyesa. What's it? Right. That aside, I did say the melting point of butter is 90 degree F, right? Okay, so the F and the C's confuse me. The Celsius and Fahrenheit, they confuse me. Can we just stick to one? You Americans just have to come in and ruin things for it. Only if you understand what I'm saying. I'm like, why do you do that? Why? Okay, let's go and check on our cake. Ooh. Before I came on the live, I was listening. Right. Monica, are you still here with us? Okay, so growing up, okay, Tapita says, growing up, my mom would buy margarine as my mom would buy margarine. As an adult buying groceries, I've switched her to butter. No more margarine in this house. I think here's where I go and I sit on the fence. Everything in, you know what, I think at this point in time, it seems like we are just living and dying because everything is unhealthy, apparently. But it's not the thing the thing is unhealthy. Everything in its excess is unhealthy. Even exercise in its extremes is unhealthy for your body. Your body needs to recoup. It needs to rest. Okay? But I think everything in moderation. So probably whilst you can swap to butter for health reasons and for good reasons and merits of the butter, what if you can't afford butter? Okay, what if? Okay, and whilst you may be making a substitute for butter, and this is not personal, by the way, I'm just expressing a thought, right? Whilst we may be able to swap for butter in one thing, are we going to swap for our, what are we swapping for our cookies? Hello? If I want a dessert, are we swapping the cookie for a cake? My point is, we can swap one for another thing as long as we do everything in moderation. Okay? I believe in moderation, says the person who is constantly eating a cake. Ignore me. Okay? So, yeah. You can't get a block of butter to melt. Yeah, because you, girl, you live by the sea and it's cold and nice and yeah. Okay? Oh dear. Monica. Melissa, you know what? Eating it, I mean, yeah. Melissa, thank you. You see, Melissa is sticking up for me. I'm just eating it. I am the quality control person on the job. So eating cakes is part of my job. Okay? I think I need to explain that to my primary health care provider no, I need to have a conversation with my weighing scale and tell the weighing scale, you better behave because this is my job. Oh. Nicola, do you think I'm slim? Please stop. Look, I'm not about to reveal my big old backside over here, okay? Yeah. You don't see it. That's why. If I turned my back and showed you my big old backside, you will see that I am harboring a secret, okay? Thank you. Well, you know what? I thank God, and I also thank God for the genes of my mom and dad, okay? That's all I can say. I just have the unfortunate job of quality testing the stuff I bake over here. I am mad. Okay? But once upon a time, I was a size 6 in UK size. What you Americans are size 2. You know what? That was all a lie. Okay? I used to be, but not anymore. And I don't want to be a size 2 anymore anyway. Because I actually do love my full figure over here. Okay? But I just have an unfortunate job. Okay, you people have got me into this job and I'm loving it a bit too much. 2 years ago when I went on the scale, you know what? I'll take you up on that, Nick. Yeah, when you do visit, you need to sit up here and we can swap places, right? But you are over there cooking all that healthy stuff. Sis, you better bring me a couple of stacks, lunch boxes of that good old stuff you're cooking, okay? And by the way, Nick, that video you put up, people, Nicola creates food content, right? And she made, first of all, Nicola, the skin is giving, okay? Yesterday, Nick put up a video on her channel about starting. You know, if you want to pursue YouTube, she was just encouraging you and giving reasons why you should start it. And if you want to see that video, go check it out. You will see Nicola sat there. Nicola, I couldn't believe how old you were. Okay? You age backwards. I'm like, I'm old. And then you said about your age. And I looked again, I'm like, girl, them Asian genes age backwards. Okay, so you say I'm slim, girl. I need that skincare routine. Bring it, okay? it's really well done for that. And yeah, just watching, I have seen a few like over 40s. I've seen a few over 40s video, and it is very encouraging. People with life's experiences bringing their expertise and experience. It's really encouraging. So thank you for that video. But please, Nick, come on. You don't look the age you were over there. And if you don't mind telling the chat, you go ahead. But I'm just leaving a girl's age alone, okay? Whilst I am over there yapping, we almost forgot. We almost forgot we had the cake in the oven, did we? No, we didn't forget. I just got too excited. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, the cake is baked. Look, if you've been here, you saw me put water in the oven. Look at how tender this bake has come out. It is so light, it is so tender. I love it when my bakes turn out correct and they behave right. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to... Whew. It was my sins before, so I can live. I have that song, Worthy is Your Name. It's in my head. Well, you can indulge me. Okay, there you go. Jesus. I'm baking. I am no singer, people. Yeah, Nick is 54. Can you... If you went and you saw the video I'm talking about, you think, really? 54? Where? Who? Like. And I'm over here going, I'm old. Nick, I want to be you when I'm old, okay? Okay, so if you've been here, you saw me put the recipe together. I talked you through the entire recipe. So here's the result. Here is the result. When I tell you, putting the water in the oven helps. Look. Did you say I'm an MC? What has that got to do with anything? Because I'm singing. Look, when I'm an MC, I go to chat. I am normally supported by a DJ who does the music, okay? I just hold the microphone and I talk and I engage with people, okay? So... Yeah, some recipes say, yeah, it's always advisable to let the cake cool for 10 minutes in the pan. I only flipped it because I was impatient to show you what, because if you flip it very quickly, the cake might fall apart. So it's important to let it cool in the pan. The only reason I flipped it out because I wanted to show you the result. I was just desperate to do that. But look at that cake. Okay, that's a yum, yum cake. Yum, yum, yum. What I'm going to do is wrap it quickly in cling film so that it doesn't dry. And wrapping it in cling film helps to trap the moisture from the steam, which then tenderizes the cake for you. Okay? So apparently there's a science to it. You could actually freeze the cake this way, but I have no intention to freeze it because I need to be decorating this cake tomorrow. You know what, Tapeta? At least, Lollipop, you weren't kicked out of a choir, were you? I was. I think they know. They know. The Lord revealed to them that my gift was not singing. So I was just trying to fit in the choir because my sister was in it, and I really wanted to sing, but I couldn't. So I was like, they kicked me out. So, but I think I can hold a tune, okay? I can. Like I can hold a tune, and I am not like I don't I it's not like I'm singing off key, or I don't know. Like, so the song I was singing, worthy is your name, Jesus. You deserve my praise. Worthy is your. I mean, I can sing that, but sometimes, there's a meme on the internet that goes like, when you have the headphones in church, or the praise is going, and you feel yourself like a Sissy Winans or some pop star, and then you go home and you want to record that, play that back to yourself, and you find you were so off key, you are not even singing the tune, and it scares the living daylight out of you. You throw your phone away. Yeah, that is me. Okay, at least I have the. Yeah, you know what? The choir director just didn't have time. You people out here, everything the kids look, the choir, it wasn't even a proper choir director. It was my Sunday school teacher. He was like, girl, get out of here. And you know what? I think many years later, I'm grateful he did, because I found my gifts, and my gifts were give me a microphone and I can talk the world down. Okay? Because no point over there wasting my time trying to sing for the church people. Okay? So even so it was not like a choir director. It was yeah. So no. Lord, you know what? The Lord is gracious. He gives us all gifts. Okay? So mine wasn't singing, and I accept it. I'm not jealous when I see Beyonce and she's like doing all that stuff. I'm like, girl, I thank the Lord for you. Okay? You just do you. You know what? Let's see what you all crazies are out there on about. So Melissa said, as soon as I hit 40, I completely embrace the face. Melissa, you look good. Okay? Dance as if no one is watching. Sing as if no one is listening. I can't sing nor dance, but I still do it. Is it in a dark room somewhere, Melissa? Do you do that in a dark room? Because if that's what you do, I am happy for you, because I can't even dance in a dark room. Okay? I can't. I cannot dance in a dark room. Like, dancing, okay, in my head, I am a Michael Jackson, Chris Brown type dancer in my head. Okay? Okay, when I watch the internet and I see videos of Chris Brown, like they're dancing, people are breaking, I'm like, oh, this is me. But in my head, I cannot move my 2 feet. Okay, like I am the sort of person who sits there and is secretly embarrassed for other people dancing. You know what? Melissa dancing at church, I mean, we all dance at church, right? But you know the sort of dance that has me looking like this. I am such a party pooper, okay? I am such your Debbie Downer, okay? You know the wedding clips where you see the bridesmaids and the people dancing, and sometimes some people will take off their wig and they're wiggling their backside. That can never be me. Okay, because I'm like, why are we doing all that? Just walk and go and sit down. Well, Tabitha is saying, growing up at church, they were taught not to dance or sing. Okay, dance and not move your hips. Well, Tabitha, I feel you. Good vibes. Good vibes. I love you too. Thank you for the compliment. Like, Tabitha, I share your sentiment. I grew up in a very traditional Pentecostal church, and like you had when going to church, you had to put on, as a girl, you can't style your hair, you have to have a headscarf. It was the sort of church that if you went and your dress was over the knee, a church mother will pull you to the side and point that out to you, like, go home and change. If you had even a long skirt, as in a long skirt, and it had a slit or a cut on the side, the cut had to be intentionally appropriate. You can't cut it all over the knee. And when you sit, if you have a dress that probably is over the knee, you couldn't sit at the front, a church mother will literally come and pull you to the back. And sometimes you would be handed a scarf or a cloth to kind of put over your knee. Like, it's very prim and proper. Now, am I against those practices? Not exactly. I think there is a place and intention for it, which is that one has to show up in a community of worship in a very polished and what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, in all fairness, in the UK, our Princess of Wales would have been a very good church person in our church. You see how she presents with her head, her fascinator and her hat and her coat dresses. She would make an appropriate pastor's wife. Okay, I say that to say the effort that went into telling us girls to look so put together like that. I wish some church mothers put the same effort in harnessing and encouraging our spiritual growth. Because you can't be looking all that proper and be stank in spirit. You can't even say a quotation, people. Okay? Like, what's the point? But at the time, we were all young. Okay? So I wouldn't say I was shy, but I just didn't fancy all that wiggling. And I think it stuck with me, like Tabitha. I still feel slightly embarrassed. Like when I'm watching a dance video where a dance crew is doing a dance, like professionally, I enjoy that stuff. I do. My heart is so warm. My head is excited. But when I flip it back to, say, a church setting where a wedding is happening and people are like doing, let's say, it's not the azonto, but the part where people are literally breaking a hip, I feel a little bit cringe on the inside. I do. I won't lie. I do. I can't handle it. But I am also open to the world we live in. But you will not be seeing me breaking a hip over there. No. Not because I don't like, I can't do it. I just can't. I freeze at the thought of it. I freeze. Yeah, I'm terrible like that. So that said, I realized that people's priorities in trying to get young girls to look presentable were misplaced. Because the amount of effort and shame that went to priming a girl, first of all, that effort needed to channel to the other side, to the opposite sex who were out here whoring in the church house. But anyway, let me just leave that conversation alone, okay? Yeah, angels in the church, devils in the street. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you look like in church, you better make sure your heart is correct. Okay, so People, I think this internet will have me saying wrong things over here and spouting nonsense. Let's just go. Oh, Lord. Peter said, as an adult, I realized God won't banish me to hell for dancing. I feel so awkward watching people. Peter, that's why you are my sister in spirit. You are my kindred spirit, okay? I feel so awkward. I can't, when I watch twerking videos, I'm like, no. Yep, it was almost like we were groomed to be proper housewives, women of God, which we can be and still dance and have. True, you know what? Like I said, the training and the admonishing and the sort of priming, all of that, there was good intention in it. But like I said, they just needed to put that effort into nurturing the spirits of both people in the church, both sexes, whether it was girls or boys. Because there's no need telling me to wear a long dress and wrap myself like an angel when my heart is as deep as the devil and I'm over there acting wild in the streets and being promiscuous in the... Amen. Let's go home. Good vibes. We finished baking. We baked some vanilla cake, which is here. And then we baked some vanilla cake and then we made some buttercream. Look, if you don't like the video, you are a hater. If you don't like the video, you are a hater. Okay? If you don't like the video, you go to church and your heart is not pure. Laughs, okay, do I? I'm happy I do. The struggle is so real, honey. You know what? We are all broken pieces, but in the eyes of the Lord, we are all welcome, okay? That is the message here. Doesn't matter. I mean, we are all affected by our influences. I realize that my relationship with God has nothing to do with how I dress. Okay, nothing to do, but how I dress is important because we are all innately wired to judge things. Even if you don't overtly look, feel, or believe you judge, believe me, we all have biases. Okay, so we are primed to observe something that is put together nicely. So you are likely to, well, if I showed up here with my hair unkempt and my skin break out and looking disheveled, I am sure you would like me, but you probably won't stop. You must be awkward to like that mess. I say that to say how we look and show up in the world is important. But that's not what drives my life. Have you seen me on a school run? I look like a mess half of the time. Yet before I had a kid, oh, I had a lot to say. Oh, I had a lot to say, Biko. I would be out here thinking, oh, if I have a child, how are you going to look like that at the school run with your jogging bottoms and your flip-flops and your sleepy face? The teachers won't respect you. You know why I thought that? I'll tell you. Because as an African growing up, appearance was important in front of authority. My mom couldn't show up in the school to come and speak to my school teacher looking disheveled, even though she was poor. Okay, so I think the conditioning of that carried on. And before I had a child, I had a different perception of what that would look like for me. Look, when you are rolling out of bed at 6 o'clock and the child is due to get ready for 7 and you need to shoot out for 7:50 and this kid is not cooperating in the morning, the last thing you're thinking about is the teacher looking at you without makeup. Okay? People, let's keep it real now. Okay? But I say that to say, I also admire you people out there who just look like you are all made up all the time. People, I only do this for you, you know. Oh, when I'm done with this heat, I am sweating. My back is sweating. My big old nyash back is hot. People, we need to go, okay? Nick, let me just come here. Nick, stop it. You can do it. Nick, here's to encourage you. I started the lives properly, I think nearly a year ago. And it's a year ago of, I think I started them once a week or something. I only started the Tuesday through Thursdays earlier this year, I believe. Tapeta would know. I say that to say, I have gotten comfortable by doing it, but I still have my first, like, previous, the lives that once I started, go and look at them. It's a mess. Take your own advice, Nicola. Take your own advice. You said just start. So here's to it. Go and start. Start messy. And the more you show up on camera, you realize that you will change as a person. Okay? Your confidence will grow. Because as you find your own community of people, the fears that you have, because the fear that you have is that, oh, Gladys looks so natural and I don't, so how am I going to make this better? Believe me, I felt exactly the same way. I wanted to get my camera set up right and do, I have my phone now, okay? That's all I have. How did I get here? Because once I started doing it, and then suddenly, do I do it for the external validation? Definitely not a primary reason. Is it a secondary reason? Yes. Because at this moment in time, there is over 8,000 of you who have made a choice to consistently show up and support me. Not only in the live formats, but also on long form videos, right? Here's the word of wisdom. Consistency will enhance competence. There is no point hoping to do it perfectly when you don't have the background. And the thing about public speaking is that you get better with time. You get better the more consistent you do it, the more passionate you feel about the subject matter you study, the subject matter you learn about it. Look, I would talk to a 90-year-old woman at the bus stop about cakes. So I am not doing anything new that I couldn't do if the camera wasn't on. The difference though is that because I am here to teach you something, I owe it to myself to research the subject matter. And by researching it to come and inform you, what has it done for me? It has taught me a lot. So when I'm talking about butter, the ingredients of butter, the role of butter in the making of cakes and buttercream, that is a skill that is supposed to be learned because you study it over time and then it becomes an everyday thing. So Nick, I won't labor the point. Go take your own advice and do the thing. Good luck. Melissa was saying, I just tell people what you see is what you get. I may be all dolled up, but could be so smooth. But look all disheveled and be one giant rich. You know what, Melissa? I think the older we all get, the better we are at embracing the duality of our lives. So yeah, just because I look disheveled doesn't mean I'm having a bad day. It just means my circumstances haven't supported me to enhance my look. But just don't judge a book by its cover, okay? And on a day that you look so put together, it doesn't mean that you're going to be the ray of sunshine. So the duality and complexity and nuance in our lives and situations varies every day. We just all have to wake up and embrace each other and be kind to each other, okay? So yeah, don't swear at the driver cutting in front of you, and if you do, just say, dear God, help me. And then maybe try and embarrass your kids a bit more. Like when I drop my son at school and I'm like, do you want to give me a hug? And he's like, I'm in class already. And that's him saying, please go away, you weirdo, don't come and embarrass me. Okay. So Tabitha is adding some advice to Nicola. Nicola, remember, if you mess up and it's not too bad, just keep it up. We as human needs to see. You need to see the mistakes. Look, I have broken my cups here. In fact, I bring my mistakes here. And that is because all of you support me. Okay, so can I make a cake perfectly? Of course. If I decide that I don't want to show you the mistakes I covered up. But showing up and having all of you validate how you appreciate the process has helped me to feel confident, which has also helped me. Like, I used to worry about what to say on camera. You won't believe it. And I just thought, I do not want anybody to know what I'm thinking. Like, no, if I'm not talking about cakes, let's be gone. And then with time, I realized that, look, we all have things we can share with each other. Now, you know, I come from Ghana, you know, my sketchy upbringing in Ghana, my life in the UK a little bit. Like, you all are not in my life like that, but you're in it somehow, right? And that is because 8,000 people decided that, you know what, we are going to support whatever you're doing, and we're going to be here. And on average, there's about at least 20 to 30 of you who show up on the lives daily. More consistently are your tapetas and your lollipop. I think if all of you disappeared, I'll still find myself in a dark room with tapeta and lollipop anyway. All you need is one supporting person like you, and you just don't feel alone. So go do the thing. Go do the thing, darling. Go do the thing and have fun. All right? But that said, people, it's 2:33. We've been here since 12 o'clock. Let's be gone. Is it? No, we've been here since half 12. So we've been here for the last 2 hours. Okay? 2 hours. I need to tidy my kitchen. I may be back. If you happen to check back in and I'm back, I'll see you shortly. If I don't come back, I am probably taking a walk to dry my back and sit in my AC and cool off a little bit. I'll catch you on the next one, people. Thank you. Okay, there's a chat going on, so are you going to cream the cake for us to eat? I'm thinking about what I want to do though, people, because I tell you what I need to do. Look, I'm hot, okay? There's this cake that is going to be made into a whole different cake. It's a gardening themed cake, and I want to bring you along the process. And then there is the doll cake. I want to bring you along the process of the doll cake as well. But I'm so hot, I don't know what I'm doing. So you know what? Let me just get off, tidy up, and see if I'll come back. If I will, I will post it up in the community post. So check the community post in about half an hour from now, and let's see if I'll be back. But otherwise, people, as always, catching up with you, having fun. Be good, be kind, enjoy baking, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.